Hi, my name is Pat. Welcome to my channel. And in this reading vlog, I am going to be reading Silvia Moreno-Garcia books. So as you can see, these are all from my library. They all came in pretty much at the same time. So I decided I'm gonna do a reading vlog dedicated solely to reading Silvia Moreno-Garcia books. I've been wanting to get to her books. I have read one from her, which is Gods of Jade and Shadow, which I remember enjoying a lot. I've just been hearing a lot of great things about her, especially when Mexican Gothic got released. So I tried reading this one by publication date, but Certain Dark Things got republished. It was originally published 2016 and then it was re-released in 2020. I kind of got confused, and so I read The Beautiful Ones first. This is a historical fiction set in a world where telekinesis is a very big thing. So it's kind of magical realism too. It's not necessarily fantasy, I wouldn't call it that, because it doesn't really focus on that aspect of it, or it's not a very big part of it. Our main character does have telekinesis, like telekinetic abilities, as well as the love interest. We are following Nina, who starts living with her cousin and his wife Valerie, and pretty much under her wing, to learn how to mingle in high society. And Valerie is very strict, she is very posh, and Nina is from the countryside, and so she's used to, running around barefoot and playing. They don't have a very good relationship, and she meets Hector and starts a romance with him, a courtship. But his courtship of Nina is deceptive, and so it's a love story between the two of them. I have not read very far into The Beautiful Ones, but I am liking it. I'm liking it very much. Writing is beautiful. It's transportive. It's definitely atmospheric. The only thing is, and I think that's what I'm supposed to feel at this moment, is the whole dynamic of the characters I'm so uncomfortable with it, because it's Hector Ovray, and Hector used to be, it's not a spoiler because it's mentioned in the very beginning, used to be her cousin's wife, essentially her cousin-in-law's, Valerie's, old lover. Nina is 19, and it was mentioned that Hector and Valerie met when they were also 19, which was 10 years ago, which makes him 10 years older than Nina. He's obviously courting Nina to be around Valerie. Gaetan, Nina's cousin, is unaware of the relationship between Hector and Valerie. They obviously still are in a way attracted to each other, but especially Hector, because we are seeing it in his perspective as well. And she's very innocent, and she's very pure, so she doesn't really think a very negative or very sinister way of other people, and I can just tell that. And I like Nina, but she's very innocent. She's very naive at this point. And Hector, just the whole thing, I don't like it. It's beautiful. It's very interesting. And I think that's a point so far. But I'm just, I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried. Oh, and also, I don't like Valerie. I don't like her. I mean, I knew I wouldn't, like right from the very beginning, with the way she's treating Nina and the way she's treating Hector and the way just things happen in the past. I still feel for her a little bit because of what happened and, how their love story kind of ended. I feel bad for her, but at the end of the day, it's not an excuse to be horrible the way she's being horrible to Nina, because Nina doesn't deserve it. Like, she's not mean, she's not mean-spirited. If anything, Nina is a very bright, very smart young woman. She might not be like the refined, graceful young lady as a beautiful one. That's what they call like the elite people in the people in high society, I guess you could say. She's a good person, and that's all you can ever ask. And Valerie is just unnecessarily unkind to her, so I don't like her. Hector too is giving me the ick vibes, but I'm very empathetic towards him. I just hope that he will have a very good character arc. But I was crying earlier. There's a lot of feelings. Okay. I feel rage. I feel I'm so freaking angry, and I don't even want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it. But the amount of rage that I have, I just want to. Also, I feel really, really, really bad. I'm crying for Antonina because of what has happened. I just want to. This one character, I hate her, and I'm only about halfway through. This is a real rap. She is so manipulative. And the thing is, I couldn't even enjoy the way that she was being manipulative because it stems from such a bitter, mean place. And there was one character that talked to her that said this to her. It's like saying that the character is so miserable that they view the world in such a negative way, and they believe that everybody else sees the world that way. And they even said at one point that they were sacrificed, they said that they were sacrificed, and why shouldn't Nina escape the same fate? And it's like, that's exactly it. From the very beginning, that's exactly how I thought of her. Like, she doesn't want anybody, that they don't want anybody else to be happy because they were miserable too, and they were forced to have this kind of life. So I rated this one a 4.5 stars. This has beautiful writing, which is something that I remember from reading Gods of Jade and Shadow. It's the beautiful writing and the beautiful atmospheric writing. And I absolutely adored our main character one, Nina. She's such a fun character to follow. She is very kind and very smart. And Hector I wanted to hit him so much. Like, I wanted to smack him and like shake him because of, you know, his deception. We know what he's hiding. We know what's going on. And so it's a lot more frustrating to read that. And I hated Valerie. I thought she was bitter and mean, but we also saw like how she came to that point in her life. And, you know, she's just the type of person who, because she's miserable, she wants everybody else to be miserable. Because she never got what she wanted, she views other people who tries to fight for what they want as obstacles, especially like in terms of like romance and the life that they're going to live. And my heart was hurting throughout the entire read because I just know how I could feel how much Nina loved Hector, knowing Hector's deception throughout. And just, I love this book so much. It was such a good read. I did have a few things at the end where I felt like it happened too fast. I felt like there should have been a bit more suffering in terms of Hector, honestly. So I wanted him to suffer a bit more. Beautiful Ones, I really enjoyed it. And then I read A Certain Dark Things. This is her first ever published book before The Beautiful Ones. But again, this was republished in 2020. Like, I think this cover is the 2021. There's a different, the 2020 or 2021. Yeah, this is an urban fantasy historical fiction as well, I think. In Mexico City, it's set in Mexico City. We are following Domingo, who is a garbage collecting street kid who gets entangled with a vampire named Atoll, and she's running from something, and he gets entangled with the like her whole situation. And in this world, what's so interesting, what I really loved, is that there are different kinds of vampires. So like there are different like subspecies of vampires, so they differ in their abilities, they differ in their features or like their physical traits, and also the way that they feed. It's very interesting. It's a very unique vampire story in that the vampires here have like subspecies. I really enjoyed it. It was gory, it was dark, there's a lot of blood involved, obviously. Really super quick read. I loved our main character. I really enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. I love the vampire lore. I wish we could read it like a little bit more in this world, and maybe because it has an open ending, and so I want to know more about where our characters are and how they're doing. But I feel like it would spoil it, but at the same time, it's like, for the sake of my emotional well-being, I would like to know how they are. I had a lot of fun reading this one. This was quite action-packed because I read it so fast, and because it, you know, it's very short. It felt like a fever dream, like at the end of it, because it's like I'm suddenly thrust into this world. It's already well established, but there's a lot of things that I don't know, especially, you know, with the vampire clans and stuff. The same thing with our main character. He knows about vampires, obviously, because it's like a widely accepted thing, but the intricacies, because the vampire and the human world are pretty much separate, they don't know really what goes on in the vampire world and vampire society. So everything just happened so fast. He was like plucked and, you know, dropped in the middle of this conflict, and everything happened so fast, and just it felt like kind of a fever dream, which I loved. I rated this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was a very enjoyable atmospheric read. The next one is Untamed Shore. This is historical fiction thriller. This is set in California, Baja California in 1979. We are following Viridiana, who starts working as the interpreter and like a tourist guide for these 3 Americans who come and visit their city, their small town. One of the Americans gets murdered, and she lies to protect the Americans. I really enjoyed this one as well. I love following again the main character because she is someone who is regarded as smart. She is smart, not just academic, but it is hindered or is affected by the way that she only ever really knows about the world through the movies and the books that she's seen. You know, she's only 18. Everybody, like these Americans, are at least 10 years, if not more, older than her. Yeah, it's like she's just roped in to their lives. Really enjoy this one. Alright, so this one I rated 4.25 stars. I loved following the main character as well. She is smart, but she's very young and also very naive. She's smart in the way that she's read a lot of books, you know, and she's listened to radios you know, she knows the world outside of her small town, but at the same time she doesn't really, because the only way that she knows it is through books and movies. Complexity of interacting with the outside world is, you know, something that she doesn't understand and that she doesn't know, even though she is smart and she had a good head on her shoulders. She's still pretty naive in a lot of ways. I love the way that the culture of a small town is shown, because it's something that I kind of understand myself, where you know everybody and, you know, things have always worked a certain way, and the way it seems, you know, inescapable and sometimes suffocating, in that you have to meet certain standards and certain pressures that people have put on you since you were a kid, and that's the only way. It's a kind of, you know, inescapable type thing where you have a limited kind of options to how your life is going to go. I rated this one at 4.25 stars. And then I read her most popular one, I think. In my opinion, this is the one that really like felt like to me put her on my radar, and that is Mexican Gothic. This is another historical fiction with kind of like horror thriller aspects to it. We are following Noemi Taboada, whose father sends her to her cousin's house because her cousin sends this disturbing letter where she sounds pretty scared and pretty paranoid. She doesn't feel safe, and that things are happening and being done that she doesn't fully understand, and she just feels like she's threatened or she's in danger. And so Noemi's dad, which is like the patriarch of their family, sends her to check up on her cousin. And staying there, she definitely discovers that there's something off in this house. Very quick to read, very atmospheric though, and again the characters and the plot are just so much fun to read. Having a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. This was atmospheric as expected. It kept me tense and intrigued the entire time. Like the entire time I was reading it, I'm just like, I know there's something wrong. There's like that sense of frustration as well, because I know that there's something wrong, just like Noemi, but I don't know what it is. Like you can't put your finger on it. I had theories on what it is. I was kind of right, but also like the certain aspects of it I didn't really think what happened, but I had a lot of fun reading this one. Again, it kept me hooked the entire time. There's just like an eerie, also suffocating kind of feeling, because you want to figure out what's going on, get out of this house, but you can't because you don't know, you're not sure what it is, and there's like that sense of control that's taken from you as well. So 4.75, really enjoy this one. And the next one is Velvet Was the Night. This one is also historical fiction set in the 1970s in Mexico City as well, following Maita, who is a secretary who lives in this apartment. She's the one that takes care of her neighbors' pets whenever they go out of town, and she meets Leonora, who's young and pretty, and an artist, who asks her to take care of her cat for a few days. And then she goes missing, and she gets entangled in this one, and she decides herself to investigate and try to find out where Leonora went. We are also following Elvis, who is our main character too, who is part of this gang. Their gang is also looking for Leonora, and he was assigned to watch over Maita because she was seen like in relation to Leonora and what's going on. I've been trying to read this for I think 3 days now. I can't find myself wanting to get back to the story. I don't know. I don't particularly find anything to really like that really like catches my attention, like makes me engrossed in the story. The two main characters that we're following, because it's a dual POV, they're okay. The main female lead, Maite, she is a compulsive liar. She like lies all the time about what she was doing, and like she was out on a date, whatever, she met this guy, etc. And she likes to steal from her neighbors because she is people come to when they need their pets like watched or taken care of while they're out of town, whatever. And she likes to take like stuff from their house. It's like mementos of some sort. I can definitely tell like she has a lot of really complex, difficult relationship with her family, and I can tell that there's, you know, a lot of things there. I don't necessarily dislike her, but I don't really like her. She is an interesting, intriguing character to follow. But aside of that, that's it. And then the main male lead, do like him a little bit, but also more neutral about him. I'm very neutral about them. I do like him a little bit more. I don't know, just the story itself too. Like, it's a short book, so I thought, you know, I'll finish it in like a day or two. It's been 3 days, and almost at the end of the day. I've been trying to read this book since this morning, and I cannot. I'm just distracted. I just stay there, and I don't feel compelled to continue reading, but I'm trying to. I'm listening to the audiobook as well. I'm reading it so I can stay focused. Also, another about Maita is she's very judgmental. I can't even like totally like dislike that about her, because I feel like it stems from her own insecurities, that she thinks so badly and like in a lot of ways stereotypical about other people. She's very caught up in her like own narratives. She often puts or compares other people or in certain situations with the books and the comics that she reads, and she's always like imagining, you know, different scenarios with these people, and she starts getting interested in finding her neighbor Leonora after, you know, she goes missing, because she thinks it's fun, because she thinks it's invigorating, even after, you know, she has talked to the people that knew Leonora and thinks that she is missing because she has like evidence of certain things about a very powerful person, and it involves, you know, the camera. And it's like she doesn't really she's so like out of touch with reality. I feel like she's out of touch with reality because she just views the entire thing as very exciting. It's very fun. And so that's why she wants to find her neighbor, not really seeing the danger of the situation and how serious it is. And the only reason that she wants to find Leonora is because she sees herself as, it's like she sees herself as a character in a comic book. I have a lot of feelings about that, you know? Okay, so Velvet Was the Night was the one that I found the least intriguing and captivating among all the books that I've read from Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I did not particularly like 𝐁𝐸. I liked Elvis okay. I do like following him. 𝐁𝐸 not so much. I'm pretty neutral about her. Majority of the book was meh. Some moments did spark my interest when, you know, it got more into the mystery aspect of it. The conflict was my favorite part because that was a part that really got me up my seat and engrossed. But aside from that, I had a hard time kind of like focusing and, you know, going back to this book. So this one is 2.75 stars. Alright, so if I'm going to rank these books, I'm going to rank them first. It's probably going to be Mexican Gothic, and then The Beautiful Ones, Certain Dark Things, Untamed Shores, and then Velvet Was the Night. I had a lot of fun reading all these books. They're all so different from each other. A lot of them are historical fiction. Some of them have more fantasy aspects, thrillers, horror, mystery, and one is romance, like heavy. But what was common among all of them is the writing and the atmosphere. Beautiful writing. And I will definitely continue reading Silvia Moreno-Garcia books. She's probably going to be another author that I'm gonna be watching out for, depending on, I guess, what her writing is going to be, because I did not feel like, even with Velvet Was the Night, I did not feel like I was having a very, very hard time reading it. I was lagging a little bit with Velvet Was the Night, but it still had elements of it that was intriguing. So that is it for this reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one.